Hey book lovers, this is Rebecca and today I am coming here with another book tag. So I've got my trusty notebook and I will be looking down at it periodically to read the questions and things like that. So today's book tag is the Full-Time Cozy Time book tag, which was originally created by Sam's Nonsense. I will link down below. And I was kind of sort of tagged by Books With Brandie Shanae, again I will link her down below, who tagged anyone who hadn't done it yet who wanted to. She is great. I would really recommend checking her out. I love her videos. She's got such an interesting point of view and I'd really highly recommend her. So before I get into the tag, I just want to say it's not actually fall in Australia right now, it's spring, but I still wanted to do this. It looked like a lot of fun. And also, fun fact, in Australia we don't say fall, we actually say autumn. So if anyone didn't know that and was curious, I thought that would be interesting. Alright, so the first question prompt is Scrunching Leaves. The world is full of colour. Choose a book that has reds, oranges, or yellows on the cover. And I picked, sorry, I'm just grabbing the book, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So you can see that it is mostly black and white with some silver in there. But there's also red in some of the text and also in the scarf that Celia wears. And again on the back it's mostly black and white with some red highlight in the text and the ribbon that the bird is holding. And again on the spine. And my sister lent me this, so it's a little beat up. She spilled some water on it, but the edges of the pages are also red and I thought it was really cool and I absolutely love this book. I've only read it once, so I don't have the best recollection of everything that happened in it, but I remember loving the vibe of the circus. It felt just amazing and wonderful. I had some small niggles with the book, like the way the close-up magic was described felt a bit forced to me, but I absolutely loved it, and that is my pick for this prompt. So prompt number 2, Cozy Sweater. It's finally cool enough to don warm, cozy clothing. What book gives you the warm fuzzies? Firstly, it is not actually cool enough to wear warm clothing here. I'm wearing a jumper because my fibro makes me cold all the time, but I'm sure most people today you will see walking around in t-shirts. But the book that I picked for this is Harry Potter. Not this one specifically, but the earlier books especially, because I grew up with these. I can't quite remember how old I was when I read them first time. I think I was about 9. And then I started keeping up with them as they came out each year. But looking back at the Harry Potter books, I do feel a very warm, fuzzy feeling. And a lot of nostalgia as well, because I did grow up with them. So that's my pick for this prompt. Prompt 3, Fall Storm. The wind is howling and the rain is pounding. Choose your favorite book or genre that you like to read on a stormy day. I love to read horror on any day, but I love to read horror on stormy days because it's very atmospheric. You get to be all nice and cozy, and a lot of the time in horror novels, a storm of some kind, a thunderstorm, a snowstorm, acts as a means to isolate the characters within the story. So it's sort of like an extra level of immersion, really, if you're sitting there reading on a rainy day while there's a big storm happening in the book. It's just got a very special feel to it, and I love that. So, prompt 4, Cool Crisp Air. What's the coolest character you'd want to trade places with? I don't really want to trade places with anyone. I'm pretty happy where I am. But if I could pick somebody that I could trade places with for a day, and she's not necessarily a cool character, but I would choose Yotsuba from the Yotsuba series. This is the Japanese edition because I studied Japanese. I've got to get back on top of it. I've barely done anything with Japanese lately, so I'm starting to forget stuff. But this is my favorite manga series, Yotsubato. And I would trade places with her because she just has so much fun. Everything is amazing to her, even a doorbell. She's 5 years old, so she's still learning a lot about the world, but she's also very naive about things that most 5-year-olds would actually be familiar with. She comes from a very rural country life, and then moves to a suburban, not a big city, but a suburban neighborhood that to her would be like a big city. And you get to watch her discover new things, meet the neighbors. There's one of the neighbors on the back there. And I think it'd be cool to trade places with her for a day. So, prompt 5. Hot apple cider. What underhyped book do you want to see become the next biggest, hottest thing? And for that, I choose The Spellslinger, not a book, a series, by Sebastian de Castell. I love this series. I received Spellslinger from my best friend for Christmas last year. And I got through it once I finally had time to sit down with it, because Christmas, can be very busy. Once I had time to sit down with it, I read it in one day. I bought the sequel on my e-reader the next day and read that the entire next day. Then had to wait months for the next one to come out. And now it's coming out every 6 months. There's 2 books left in the series with 4 books in. And I would just love for people to start reading this. It's really amazing. Let me just read the blurb on the back for you. Magic is a con game. Kellen is moments away from facing his first mage's duel and the start of 4 trials that will make him a spellcaster. There's just one problem. His magic is gone. As his 16th birthday approaches, Kellen falls back on his cunning in a bid to avoid total disgrace. But when a daring stranger arrives in town, she challenges Kellen to take a different path. The first in a rich and compelling fantasy series bursting with tricks, traps, and a devious talking squirrel cat. So on the cover here at the top you can see Kellen. He's the main character. This series is first person perspective from his point of view. On his shoulders there is Reaches the squirrel cat. He's quite vulgar. He's very cranky. He loves eating eyeballs, just a FYI. And he can actually talk to Kellen, and nobody else can understand him, but Kellen can. And then down the bottom here we have my favorite character. I'm just going to flip it up so you can see her properly. That is Farius Parfax, and she is absolutely amazing. I love her to death. I hope that I can write a strong female character like her one day. I love her. So that is my underhyped book recommendation, guys. Read it, please. It's amazing. Alright, so prompt 6. Coats, scarves, and mittens. The weather has turned cold and it's time to cover up. What's the most embarrassing book cover you own that you like to keep hidden in public? I don't have a book cover that I like to keep hidden. I read what I like. I'm not ashamed of anything that I read. So I was thinking, but I couldn't think of anything. And even if I could, I read mostly on my e-reader anyway, so nobody can actually see what I'm reading. So that, if I did read books that I didn't want anyone to know I was reading, that would probably be very helpful, but I honestly couldn't think of anything. So prompt 7. Pumpkin spice. What are your favorite full-time comfort foods? I like when we come into autumn because my husband starts making soups again. It gets way too hot in Australia in summer generally to eat soup, at least most of the time. We do have cold snaps here and there. So he makes this really amazing vegetable chowder. He puts potato, carrot, corn, and broccoli in. It's cheesy. It's amazing with toast. It's warm. It fills your belly. It's very satisfying, and I absolutely love it. So that is my comfort food for the autumn and winter. We continue to eat soups into winter as well, obviously. And prompt 8. Warm, cozy bonfire. Spread the cozy warmth. Who do you tag? So I don't know if they're going to see this, but I'm going to tag what is a Farida. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry if I'm not. And HappyReading. If you guys haven't done it yet and you want to, feel free. Anyone else who hasn't done it yet and wants to, go for it. And let me know if you do it, because I'd love to see all your answers, because this is a really fun one. So that's it for me today. Like, comment, and subscribe if that's if you feel so inclined. And I will see you on Monday with my reading vlog.